Hey everybody, my name is Chelsea. I am the founder of Transcending, Healing Mind and Body. You can find me at Transcending Pain on Instagram. I am happy to be here. First, let me just share that this is my first video. I am by no means a YouTube person. I really don't like attention. So this is going to be interesting to see how this goes. I have no experience creating content, videos, filming myself. It's pretty uncomfortable. However, what I do know is I have found healing, and I feel an immense responsibility to share my experience with other people because this healing through the mind body connection is available to everyone. And that's what I'm here for, to share my experience with you in hopes that you will learn something that maybe will lead you on your own healing journey. So, with that said, I don't know if I said I'm 34 years old, but I'm 34 years old. I am a wife, a bonus mom, a dog mom. I am a working professional. I volunteer in my community. I'm a lot of things. I do a lot of things. I never thought any of these things were possible. I had a long, long, long life of pain and suffering. I, every time someone's asked me like when these problems started or when I noticed like a change in my life or what happened or transpired, I always, at first it was like, well, I had mono in high school, and after that, everything got bad. And then it was like, well, there was that time in seventh grade that I had pneumonia really badly. Maybe that's when it started. Or, growing pains started when I was even young. Growing pains, that's what everyone told me. Started when I was even younger than that. Maybe it's when my parents moved, when we moved when I was growing up in the third grade. Or oh, there was that time that I, had a head injury. Maybe it was then. Or, oh, I got bit by a brown recluse when I was 6 years old. Maybe it was then. But then I just kept going further and further and further back in life. And then I realized that I've been this way my entire life. Ever since I was born, ever since I came out of the womb, I've been struggling with life. I've had pain and symptoms my entire life. My mother told me that every time I had a vaccine when I was a baby, I would have a reaction. I had issues with formula when I was a baby. And, I've come to believe for myself, I started experiencing mind body symptoms from the moment I came to Earth. I don't know if it's because I swallowed amniotic fluid when I was coming to the Earth, and that just set my body into this fight or flight, and I stayed in fight or flight, and my brain started perceiving everything in this world as dangerous, and that's why. I'm not sure. What I found though is that it doesn't really matter, because for me, I've learned that everything I've experienced, all my symptoms, all my conditions, the things that pop up even now since I found healing, all have to do with the fact that I'm human. And it's not that I'm broken or anything. I'm human. And I feel like what I've been suffering from my entire life is really just being human. It's the human condition and the way that stress manifests itself in the mind and body. So, anyway, with that said, I'll tell you a little bit about how I got to where I am. Like I said, lifetime of suffering, always one thing after another. It seems growing up, I was always sick. I was always in the doctor's office. I was always experiencing something. And when I started having more chronic issues, when I was little, the explanation was always, well, it's growing pains or that's normal or whatever. But I think back and there's a lot of things that I didn't even talk about. I didn't know that I didn't have the awareness, right? The knowledge, the education. I wasn't sure what was happening with me. I was always a very private child. And I think maybe that's because I had two younger sisters. You know, when I was 6 years old, my mother had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they were a lot of work. And at that point in time, I learned to be independent and self sufficient. And I'm not going to bother my mom with this feeling of being scared or whatever it was at the time because she's busy with my little sisters. I'll tend to myself. I'll figure it out myself, right? So I don't know. With that said, when I began to get older and continue to have more chronic health issues, it was headaches, it was migraines. When I started going through puberty, I started having a lot of female issues, seeing a gynecologist at a very young age, at 13 years old or 14 years old, however old I was. I had surgery when I was 15 years old because of continuous ovarian cyst bursts. It was just always something. So it was symptom, doctor, diagnosis. Find a way to manage that symptom, new doctor, new diagnosis. And this was my life. This was my life. And it was constant. And I still think of things, every time I think like, oh, I've completed my list of symptoms I experienced over the years, someone will ask me or message me and say, hey, I have this going on. Do you think this is my body? And it'll dawn on me, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that. I experienced that too, right? So there's so much stuff. But as a child, I would say I remember having really bad allergies. We would get, we meaning like my sisters and my mother, we would go to the allergist every single week. At one point in time, we all suffered allergies so severely. We had in-home allergy shots. We were trained how to give each other allergy shots. We did them at home. I got one in both arms every single week. I had a medication I took in the morning. I had a medication I took in the evening. I had a nose spray, a prescription nose spray that I used. There's something else I'm missing as far as allergies go. Anyway, that was ever since I was a little child, right? Oh, I ended up getting recurring tonsillitis. I had strep throat all the time. They determined I was the carrier. I got my tonsils taken out when I was in the second grade. I was 7 years old, I think. You know, always something. But whenever it came to pain, the explanation I always got was it's normal growing pains. Every time. That was the explanation I got. Normal growing pains. So eventually I started having headaches more and more. I was just told, take an ibuprofen, take some Advil. And I feel like middle school is probably when I really just remember suffering physically. I know in elementary school I suffered a lot mentally and emotionally. I didn't realize that at the time, but now I can see it. I was full of anxiety and fear and just felt very different than other people. I had trouble learning, I had trouble reading, I had trouble remembering things and being able to perform on my tests whenever we had quizzes or exams or whatever. I struggled to comprehend information and yeah, I don't know, but I think that's enough for today. So, like I said, I'm not used to this. I'm not one for attention. I don't really like it. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know if you're getting anything out of this, but like I said, I just feel this responsibility to share my story with you, my experience with you, everything I've learned, share my healing journey with you, and we'll see where it takes us. So I'm glad we get to be on this journey together. If you have any questions, connect with me, message me, comment, follow me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I'm out there. Let's connect and walk this journey together. Bye bye.